Signore e signori, state per assistere ad uno spettacolo indimenticabile, ad un film destinato all'immortalità, immortale come le musiche che
Hello everyone and welcome back to Animation Pilgrimage, where we watch every single theatrically released animated film in chronological order. I'm Sean.
I'm Tennille.
And today we are still in 1976, and we are in Italy with their film Allegro non Troppo from Bruno Bozzetto.
Yep, that's the director. Let's start off with explaining the title of this film. It's a little bit of a double meaning pun. So, an allegro, in musical terms, means like to play fast, but not too fast.
Uh-huh.
But in Italian, allegro is also like be happy, but not too happy. So...
Okay.
Or specifically paired with the words non troppo. You know, so this is like quickly, but not too quickly. And happy, but not too happy. This film is very silly.
This movie is very tongue-in-cheek. It is a parody of Fantasia, but doesn't really capitalize on the parody elements too much. Instead, it just decides to have fun with the concept, and I appreciate it for that. It's not directly poking fun and stabbing at the
Fantasia.
The direct Fantasia film.
It feels more so like, that Fantasia was kind of neat. I kind of want to do something like that. And someone's like, you know, if you do something like that, like, everyone's just going to call it a Fantasia ripoff. And they're like...
All right, we'll kind of lean into that then, I guess.
Okay.
It's like,
I still want to do it. Yeah, that's how this film really feels. I feel like, however, that because it plays into the fact that it is a Fantasia ripoff, parody, whatever, it makes it so you're always comparing it to Fantasia, and it never has a chance to meet Fantasia quality.
Yeah, there are two segments that are close, but that's
close
about it.
to, like, the worst segments from Fantasia.
Yeah, the average level.
Yeah.
They're close to the average level of Fantasia segments, but they never actually quite get there. Anyways,
That being said...
overall, I actually kind of enjoyed this film.
Yeah, same. It's like... It was fun. I think the first act is the weakest.
Absolutely. Well,
then,
the first two acts are the weakest.
Yeah. And then, like, the movie really kind of picks up, and it's fun. And it has this, so, the movie...
framing device.
Yeah, the movie is framed with live-action segments filmed in black and white, where they're, like, performing the music and all that. And the animator's, like, animating while they're performing the music, which is hilarious, because, like, no way that could ever happen.
Man, the artist guy they got, whoever they got to play him, fantastic job.
So, this actor is, Maurizio Nichetti. And he was also a writer on this film. When Sean and I were watching this, we were kind of wondering if he was the director, because he feels like...
I didn't necessarily think he was the director, but it felt like he was one of the people in on making the movie itself. Because he had a ton of fun. Probably more fun than, like, anyone else on screen.
Anyway, backtracking.
Yes.
We keep jumping topics here. Okay, sorry, everyone. Let me go through this. So the movie is framed... You have your cartoon segments that are paired with the music, similar to Fantasia.
Yes.
And then we have live-action black and white segments that, you know,
are telling a silly
this
story.
ragtag group trying to put this concert together that's a ripoff of Fantasia. And, you know, everything that can go wrong goes wrong. And what makes these really enjoyable is that they take inspiration from, like... Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton style of extreme visual comedy. God, I miss this stuff. This stuff's so cool.
It's very good.
Yeah, but, like, these segments they don't start off with that, and I think that's kind of a shame because it makes the first few parts of this movie kind of like drag a little bit and make you feel like the movie's going to be more mean-spirited than it is.
Yeah, but like once the artist guy gets on screen, it helps the movie.
It really picks up.
It helps the movie significantly.
And becomes a lot more enjoyably silly and just fun.
Because we got like two guys that want to run this thing. One of them is like the maestro. The other guy is like the director or something.
Yeah.
And
the presenter, I
the
think.
presenter. Yeah, and they have like a cage full of old grannies that they load into a truck and take to the theater.
The concert hall.
The concert hall. There's also one young gal that has to do everything. She cleans everything. She sets up the entire stage. She does any like clothing changes and like cleans up anything that goes wrong. It's all played for like, this is like for comedy. But then, like, the old grannies are there to be the orchestra itself.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, that's kind of weird and silly. And then they also pull the artist out of, like, a cage that they had him in for, like, 5 years or something.
Right. And they're like, go draw. Like, wow. This is good.
It's very silly. And hijinks happen a lot.
Interesting to note is that apparently the guy who plays the artist was a writer on this film, but it's also, from what I could tell, seems to be like one of his first films he was in. And I was like, wow, he did a really good job. Like, honestly, he was my favorite part of the movie because I just thought he was a really good actor and he did the physical comedy stuff really well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, just... I guess we should talk about the animated segments.
Yeah, and I actually have them listed in order with like the pieces of music that went along with them.
Because I didn't do that.
Yeah. So we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 pieces and then like a weird epilogue section. So the first piece was Claude Debussy's, I'm going to say all of these wrong, Prelude à l'après-midi.
Listen, if people aren't here and recognize that we stumble over words constantly, then I don't know what to tell you.
I'm just going to put this on screen. The prelude section. Because it's definitely not English, and I have no idea if it's French or Italian. Either way, this is the tale of a horny old satyr trying to get with nymphs. Over and over and over again, and that's like the whole thing. It's kind of a melancholy piece. It doesn't like feel triumphant at all, and in the end the dude fails and just walks off, and it turns out, oh, Mother Earth is also a giant naked lady. And like that's it.
The biggest downfall with a lot of these early animated segments is that they don't go along with the music at all. Like at all.
It just kind of, this one's like melancholy, sad music, and then like this depressed goat trying to get some, and he just fails. Which, yeah, good, because he's a weird, creepy, old, horny man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whatever.
This one is probably one of my least favorite segments, just because it's really boring, and I don't even know how much I'm going to be able to show, because like it's a bunch of naked boobs everywhere.
Anyways, next segment.
The next segment is Antolin Durak's Slavonic Dance Number 7, OP 46.
Nailed it.
Yep. This one's meh.
What happened during this one?
This is the really, really, really short one. High energy. It's about a caveman that decides to go live in the field in a house, and then the millions of other cavemen that also lived in the same cave system are like, I'm going to copy that guy. And then he's like, oh, they all copied my hut. Well, I'll build a skyscraper. And then they all build their skyscrapers. And then, like, they just keep copying him over and over and over again. And he gets really annoyed and, like, tries to make them self-harm themselves by harming himself. And then, like, decides he's going to walk off a cliff. And they're like, no, we're not going to do that, you dummy. And then they show their butts to him and the thing ends.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's supposed to be a play on, segments, like, weird nationalism, possibly.
I think it's more... Okay. The reading I got from it when watching this is it's very much a, like, self-important, like, a genius who's like, oh, everybody just copies me. And then, you know, they think they're infallible until they, like, cause their own downfall.
Mm-hmm.
And then they find out, like, oh, no, you're not such hot shit, genius.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It was kind of a weird segment. It was over very quickly. I don't know how to feel about it. It was fine. It was very cartoony. It was,
These first two segments are, like, they're fine segments on their own, but, like, just the fact that they're supposed to be, like, with this music, they both have these, like, odd plots that are just, like, they're tongue-in-cheek, but not in a fun way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was not a good start to this movie.
No.
Like, after this segment, I was ready to, like, turn my brain off and be like, alright, well, this is what we're in for,
Well,
so...
you shouldn't turn your brain off so quickly because the next one is probably the best segment of the entire film.
Is it the cat?
No. The next one was Maurice Ravel's Bolero. This is an evolution piece.
Didn't that come after the bee piece?
No.
Okay.
No, that's like the last one.
Okay.
No. This is the evolution where it starts with a Coke bottle being thrown into the foreground and a spaceship taking off. But then the music starts up.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's a bolero, it's something that starts small. And it's got a march feel to it. And it just slowly builds and builds and builds constantly over the course of the entire song.
Mm-hmm.
And the visuals that go with it perfectly emulate this because it starts as the residue of the Coke coming to life as a weird puddle alien thing.
If you can show this part, like, this is definitely the part to show off.
Oh, 100%.
Because, like, the way that this is animated is super cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's this
amorphous
viscous, blobby
smoke thing.
Yeah, and it's just, like, it's animated all with, like, just very sketchy gradient.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, every single frame is different because it's all just, like, this harsh pencil work.
Mm-hmm. It's fantastic.
It's really good. Love it.
And so we have this little blob thing that, like, starts going along, and then it, like, sploops on the ground, and then out from underneath it comes a slightly more evolved thing, and then that thing dies some way, and it evolves again, and then we just keep going, and, like, it's the evolution of these things, and we eventually get to, like, dinosaurs and stuff, and, like, they're just marching along. Like, this is very much so supposed to be their take on, like, the
evolution part in Fantasia.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, like, this time they're just doing weird, obscure, cartoony things. And they look fantastic, and they move great, and the music beat is just great, and it just keeps building and building and building. And then also in here we got, like, an actual chimpanzee guy that, like, comes in and, like, starts killing off some of the animals, and, like, he's obviously smarter than all the other creatures, and then eventually he runs off ahead because he figures out fire. And the other creatures start walking through, like, the history of humanity. And then at the end, they all die off. And there's a statue of man. And the head explodes. And it's just the chimpanzee. Because man kills off everything.
Uh-huh.
The villain was man.
Uh-huh.
And so the end was a little weak. But, like, the execution of the entire piece was really cool. And I like this one a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would agree. It doesn't nail its concept, but, like, it's a really interesting piece, regardless.
It's one of the, like I said, it's one of the two best segments in this entire movie. Mm-hmm. The other best segment is the very next one.
The cat!
Yes. This is a dilapidated house that's all destroyed, and we got this gorgeous cat who is done in, like, a very similar rough style where every frame feels alive because it's like
all the tabby stripes are like sketched onto the cat.
God, this must have taken so long.
And just like the way the cat moves is perfect. Like I love this segment just for how this cat moves.
This is Gene Sibelius's Valse Triste. I probably, again, pronouncing all of these... Nailed it! Totally not pronouncing all of these incredibly wrong. But, like, it's just this cat wandering through this house, or the remains of this house, and, like, it's a very melancholy piece that picks up every now and again as it remembers what the house was like, and there were people here, and it could, like, eat and sleep in all these places, and, like, then the song ends, and it's like, no, it's all gone. And I'm dead, too. And it fades away.
And then, like, a
wrecking ball comes in and destroys the remains of the house.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's a really poignant, sad piece.
Yeah. It's like, perfect.
Cool.
Good.
Fantastic. I love it.
Tie a little ribbon on that. That was beautiful.
Thank you. Was... Yes. All right. Next we have Antonio Vivaldi's Concerto in C Major, RV 599. This is the story of a small cartoon bee who wants to eat the pollen out of a flower, and she's getting all set up and stuff, but she keeps getting interrupted by a couple of humans who are...
macking out.
like, having a date, and, like, the perspective work on this is really fantastic.
Yeah.
Because, like, you see the bee, she's tiny, and then there's, like, these humans in, like, this super fisheye warp lens as they, like, tower into the sky, and she has to watch out as they're, like, rolling around and, like, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's great. I enjoyed this one as well.
It's a more humorous one, but, like, it's cute and it's fun. Like, it's just a good one.
Yeah. This is like,
the last 3 segments are all like, oh, wow, why did we even watch those first 2 segments?
Yeah, these, like, make up for the quality of those first 2.
Yeah.
Fantastic. The last real segment that we have is Igor Stravinsky's The Firebird Suite.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. This parody of Fantasia did The Firebird before Disney decided, wait, we can do The Firebird and do it in Disney 2000.
Fantasia 2000.
Fantasia 2000.
Yeah.
Disney 2000. I mean...
Same thing, really.
So, if you've watched that movie, you already know this piece. But it's a piece that starts slow and then, like, builds into, like, chaos energy and then, like, dies off again at the end. Mm-hmm. The story that these guys decided to play with it, though, is... what if Adam and Eve, except the serpent ate the apple instead?
Yeah.
So that's it. The serpent tries to tempt Adam and Eve with the apple, and they're both like, no thank you. Nah, we're good. So the serpent's like, fine, I'll eat it. And then he eats it, and then he has terrible hallucinogenic dreams of, like, blah. Nailed it! Terrible nightmares of demons tormenting him, and, like, modern day society and, like, technology, and all of these things are horrible, and police brutality and all kinds of stuff, and, like, then
the real villain was man.
The real villain was man! Again.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up and he's just like, ah! And Adam and Eve are like, you okay, dude? And it's just like, no, it's terrible. They're like, what? I don't get it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Haha, we're stupid and innocent. Haha.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I guess technically this whole piece started with a claymation segment.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was an allegory for God trying to make man, and it starts with, like, a thing that is literally just a foot and a hand, and it fails. So he recreates it, and then it's, like, 2 feet and 2 hands, but, like, still really terrible, and then he finally forms it into the form of an actual person. Mm-hmm. But he actually splits it into 2 pieces, so it's like man and woman.
Yeah.
And that was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. The animation in all of these was really good.
Mm-hmm. Even the animation on the pieces that we didn't like was still pretty good.
Yeah. We should note that the director who directed this directed another film we've watched in the past, West and Soda.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see
sense.
that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Neat. And that was Italy's first animated film.
Yeah.
Well, neat. Fantastic.
Well, wait, no.
No?
The Singing Princess.
Was that them? I thought that was like Czech.
Which, to people nowadays, they might be going, The Singing Princess, huh? Yeah, that movie got... We reviewed it at one point, but it got taken down by whoever owns...
Dum-dums.
Whoever owns it now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's a movie made in the parodies.
Yeah. Like, we didn't even really show any clips from it.
No.
Anyways, then after that, the movie kind of just derails because at this point, like...
The concert has gone all kinds of crazy.
The orchestra is gone. Like, a monkey came in and killed the director and... Conductor. The artist turns himself and the gal that, like, was fixing everything into, like, a cartoon prince and princess, and they fly off.
A very Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs prince and princess.
Yeah. And then, like, the announcer guy is like, we need a finale. So he calls Igor on the phone, essentially, and then Igor just has a bunch of finales sitting in little boxes there, and it's just a really quick clip show of little cartoon jokes that just go in, like, really snappy bits, and they're kind of fun.
I don't remember any of them.
They go by really fast, and they don't really matter, and the movie just kind of peters out and ends.
With one last thing saying, like, oh, I got an idea for the next thing we should do. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, he's essentially thinking Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, because the movie starts with him saying, like, no one's ever done animated pieces to just classical music before, and then, like, Disney calls him.
Hollywood calls.
Hollywood calls, and then he fights with them.
Yeah.
So...
That's it pretty much. It's an interesting movie. I think it's worth checking out.
Yeah.
The beginning is a little rough, and it kind of peters out at the end. But especially
the segments themselves are actually pretty good.
Yeah, the segments are pretty good, and the middle of the story does have a lot of fun, like, physical humor and just wacky shenanigans going on.
Indeed. So, honestly, I'd say recommend it. I was definitely hesitant before we watched the movie because it was...
Last time we had a Fantasia parody, that went horribly. Thank you, Warner Brothers.
I'm trying to remember what that one was.
It was some Looney Tunes shorts parodying Fantasia, like, in the late 40s. Well, no, it was even, like, in the 50s. So it was still, like, way past the time of being topical when we were watching.
Yeah, it was an actual short. It wasn't like an actual movie.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I remember now, and yeah, that was just dumb. That was really mean-spirited. Anyways, yeah, I think that's going to do it for this film. Check it out, honestly. It was neat. Next time, we have another 1976 film, because of course we do. We are watching the first film that we can get our hands on of a franchise that's been around for a while. It's another European comic book series. We're watching The Smurfs and the Magic Flute.
I can't believe it. Like, this is a property I know. The Smurfs, man. I'm excited.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.